yeah, and to save herself for the right man so that she can find happiness. Because my daughter, in spite of everything, my daughter is not a very happy girl. She doesn't have a relationship. She's always seeking for it, you know. So I see that in her. So I want my granddaughter to have like a better emotional life, maybe in my terms, according to Alba's world, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said,
So
like old grandmas.
exactly. So I try to instill in her since she's like 10 years of age what virginity is all about so that she doesn't give it up so easily. So that she doesn't, because right now how life is and the world is, girls just go ahead and have sex. And it's not that sex is bad, it's just that in Alda's world, it should be done with the appropriate person at the appropriate time.
Right.
And that's what she's instilled in Jane. As life has it, she goes to have a gynecologist checkup, and her gynecologist is out that day, so there's somebody substituting that has had a very big emotional problem that day and confuses the injection of fertility with the pap smear that she was going to do. And my granddaughter ends up being injected with this, sperm. And we all have to face that new reality in her life. And let's see where it takes us from here, because there's Raphael, whose sperm it was, and Raphael happens to be the owner of the hotel where my granddaughter, Jane, works at. And the story is so well written. I tell you something, Paloma. The story is so well, the way the stories are intertwined one with the other, because it's not only about her being pregnant, it's the world and the intrigue and even the adult theme moments that you will see. It's not like everything is not like pink and nice, no. Everything is like real, the world, life, a slice of life, but with darkness too. Not everything will be nice.
Yeah, and we expect a lot of Latinos and Latinas to watch this show. So how does this, how do you think this show compares to traditional novelas?
Well, let me tell you something. Novelas is usually in Latin America. Are you talking novelas in Latin America?
Well, and here, because there's a huge market for novelas here among Hispanics.
Because the Latin novelas are very different from the American novelas.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the Latin novela, there's always the same premise. It's the Cinderella story.
Mm-hmm.
It's the poor girl that gets the prince.
Right.
It's always that promise underneath anything in the Spanish novela. In the American novela, that's not the case. It's about the families and the intrigues and what happens, and they go on for years. In our case, they go on for 3 months only, the telenovelas in Spanish.
Yeah, this is true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in this case, I think it has a big influence of that telenovela concept of the young girl that is in the lower middle class with the prince, which is Raphael, maybe, and Michael, which is also her fiancé.
Oh my goodness, sounds complicated enough. Now I want to watch this. I'm not going to miss it.
I'm telling you, because it isn't like A plus B, C. This is not the world that Jenny Snyder Ehrman has created. She's created this intertwined realities of things that are so improbable to be part of each other that you're going to be surprised at every corner, at every event. You'll see it, and that's good writing,
Mm-hmm.
And it will keep you involved because of that. So in that sense, it's telenovela in this, I would say it's a melodramedy, right? Because it has melodramatic moments, but also dramatic moments that are very real. Also comedic moments that are just ironic, satire, over the top. But even when it's over the top, it comes from a reality also. It's a very interesting concept that she's created, very interesting world. So it won't only be, it'll have the intrigue of the telenovela, but it goes beyond the telenovela because I would say, it's done for the North American palate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That it will have the element of the Latino telenovela, especially me speaking Spanish and me seeing life through the prism of what is informed through me through the telenovelas, you know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, Alba lives in her world, in her own telenovela, in her mind, you know?
Yeah, yeah. How interesting. And tell me, how much influence do you think grandmothers have on the younger generations that are living in the mix of a multicultural modern society?
I think the influence is a very big and important influence as I am seeing it wherever I go. Because wherever I go and I speak Spanish to the young people that are cashiers or, you know, just doing work around, and I see they're Hispanic and I talk to them in Spanish, and they will answer immediately in Spanish. And if I speak to them in English, they will answer in English also. Very respectful. It's like the grandmother gives them that anchorage, that it anchors them of who they are, where they come from, who they really are, in spite of whatever the society tells them, because of the color of their skin or their accents or their social position. The grandmother, I think, connects them to that root, to the fact, to the important part of their authenticity, their authentic self, is what I think.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, and what message would you send to our young Latinas regarding virginity? Is it still important nowadays?
I think it's important nowadays. I think it's important to bring it back. And I'm not being like so purist like Alba, but I think it's a great gift to have for oneself, to save yourself for the man or the person that you think is going to be with you for the rest of your life, hopefully, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a ritualistic, kind of like a feel-good thing to do. Maybe for the family, maybe some girls do it for the family, maybe some girls do it for themselves. I think that there's a big turning of these events with the virginity thing now, that girls are saving themselves, and why not? You know, why not? The fact that they're not having sex at age 23, for example, is not bad. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very true.
Maybe you have the STDs, you have so many other things, you know, including AIDS that you can acquire, you know, mortal illnesses, you know, just because you had sex.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's important to save yourself, but...
Very good. Y bueno, díganos, how, where, when do we find this show? When do you guys air? In how do we find the show?
Pues vamos a estar en la cadena CW Network. Yo no sé cuál es el número allá en Chicago.
Okay.
Pero estamos los lunes, octubre 13 a las 9 de la noche es nuestro primer show.
Muy bien, yo no me lo voy a perder.
Pacific 8 Central, ¿verdad? Mi publicidad ya. Ajá, los lunes, del lunes 13, Día de la Buena Suerte.
Ok, perfecto. Y bueno, un último mensaje con el cual nos quiera dejar para la juventud latina que son bilingües, biculturales. ¿Qué mensaje usted les manda como latina ya experimentada, que viene de Puerto Rico, llega aquí a vivir a los Estados Unidos? ¿Qué mensaje les quiere mandar usted?
Yo le quiero decir a la juventud latina de los Estados Unidos que preserven sus dos culturas, que nunca olviden la cultura de sus padres, las raíces de donde vinieron, porque eso les va a dar una ventaja culturalmente en todas las partes del mundo. Dos idiomas, dos culturas. Por favor, ¿quién pide más? ¿No entiendes?
Sí.
Deben de celebrarlo, nunca deben de dejar de mantener esa llama viva dentro de ellos, nunca. Es importante.
Muy, muy importante, y yo estoy muy de acuerdo con usted. Yo lo veo, yo soy primera generación, apenas yo llegué en el 95, no sabía ni una palabra en inglés, no tenía idea de quién era. Y yo pienso que si yo no hubiese guardado o protegido mi identidad como latina, yo creo que no estaría donde estoy ahora.
Exactamente, porque eso es lo que te da la base para todo.
Claro.
Y la base cultural que nosotros traemos de nuestros países.
Sí.
Es una base cultural que no se va a encontrar aquí.
Claro.
No la vas a encontrar, porque aquí la base cultural es distinta, es norteamericanizada, por supuesto, porque estamos en Norteamérica, pero no le ponen la atención porque el país es grande, hay tanta gente, pero nuestros países tienen definición en muchos aspectos de moralidad, de conducirse uno, de conducta, exactamente la fibra que nos hace a nosotros.
Claro.
Viene de allá, exactamente. Qué chévere oír eso, Paloma. Me alegro mucho oír esa historia también, qué linda.
Sí, y pues bueno, ha sido un placer